This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening. My name is Mary Maslowski. I'm the chairperson for the Harwich Historic District and Historical Commission. I'd like to call to order the meeting of Wednesday, March 17th, 2021. It is 6 p.m. This meeting is being held via remote participation only, and no in-person attendance is permitted. This meeting will be recorded by Channel 18 and broadcast live if possible. And the meeting invitation for the Global GoToMeeting can be found on the Historic District and Historical Commission's website if someone would like to click through. I'd like to start with a roll call. Julie Eldridge.
Here.
Jean Steiner.
Here.
Robert Doan.
Here.
And myself. So we do have 4 members. So that does constitute a quorum for tonight's meeting. So I would like to start with opening public hearing, which is HH 2021-02. It's a notice of intent that's been received for 20 Green Neck Road, map 5, parcel N6-K2 in the R-H-1 zoning district. The application proposes a partial demolition and rebuild of an addition on the dwelling. The application is pursuant to the Code of the Town of Harwich, Chapter 131, Historic Preservation, Article 2. Ronald Martin is owner, Cape Coastal Builders Incorporated as applicant. Is there anybody here representing the applicant? And you are Brian Wall?
Yes, Madam Chairman, thank you. My name is Brian Wall, and I am an attorney. I'm representing both the property owner and the builder, Cape Coastal Builders.
Okay, thank you. Why don't you start with your presentation?
Certainly, thank you. First of all, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. So, as I said, I'm representing the applicant. Mr. Ronald Chuck Martin is the owner of the property at 20 Gray Neck Road in Harwich Port. And I'm also representing the builder who will hopefully be doing the work, Cape Coastal Builders Incorporated. And Mr. Martin is here tonight, as is Peter Hoppo, who is the president of Cape Coastal. We have submitted a notice of intent on the forms provided. We have also provided a site plan, architectural plans detailing the work, and photos of the existing structure. If the members have been able to look at the materials, you can see that the existing structure is what I would call or characterize as a Cape Cod style cottage. We have jurisdiction with this board because the structure was constructed in or about 1910, so it's more than 100 years old, hence the need to give the notice of intent to do some demolition work. Work being proposed is the following: to demolish a rear addition that is not actually part of the original house, and then to reconstruct a new addition essentially in the same place but slightly larger. The new dimensions will be approximately 23 feet by 30. All of the work is at the rear of the property, in the rear of the structure. As I mentioned, the work is not part of the original 100-year-old structure. The existing rear has already been altered and consists of a number of dormers and sliding glass doors, which are not historically consistent with the neighborhood. The new addition, although it will be modern, will be more consistent with the historical character of the structure and will be congruous with the architecture in the neighborhood. None of this is visible from the public way. The materials that will be used are consistent with the existing house: wood framing, cedar shingles, etc. So what's before the board tonight is a determination of whether or not this structure is historically significant. And I'm sure the board's well familiar. There are 4 categories. This structure does not trigger any of them. It is not listed in the National Registry of Historic Places. To our knowledge, it is not directly associated with any historically noteworthy persons or events. It does not possess particular value as far as architectural or significance, other than the fact, it is a quaint Cape Cod style cottage. And it is not listed as a historically significant building developed with the standards and maintained by the Historic District or Commission. So we would respectfully submit that the commission could make a determination of non-significance to allow this work to proceed. But also under section 10, if the board did not feel that it could make that determination, there's an alternative where if it's less than complete demolition is proposed, and the demolition will not destroy or substantially diminish the historical significance of the structure. So we respectfully contend that it's simply not historically significant, but even if you feel otherwise, because it's less than full demolition and it's all at the rear, we feel that you could approve the work. And that's our presentation. I'm available for questions. And again, Mr. Hoppel, the builder, is on the line, as is the.
Okay, great. Thank you. Bob Jones, did you want to start with any questions?
Sure. So the rear, the 4 dormers that are being removed, were those of the original 1910 house?
I don't actually know that. I can certainly tell you the sliders and the addition on the northerly side is not, but I know Mr. Hoppel is on the line and Mr. Martin is as well. They might be able to answer that question.
Yeah, no, they weren't part of the original house. They were added when the addition we're talking about taking off was done, and that was before we owned the house.
Okay.
And could I just ask you to identify yourself, sir?
Sure, I'm the owner of the house. Mr. Chuck Martin, Ronald Chuck Martin.
Okay. Thank you.
And in the modification, are you changing the slope of the front of the roof
No.
facing the street? So,
No.
and does the chimney remain?
Yes.
Okay, in the same chimney, you're not going to restructure it or anything?
No. We might
Okay.
rehab it to get it working, but it's going to still remain.
Okay. Yeah, while I do consider that architecturally significant property, but you know, from that period of when they built those beach houses, or they were much smaller back then with all the additions now. But yeah, it's not, I can see it's not being seen from the street, and that's where most of our purview comes. So I think this is fine.
Thanks, Bob. Steiner, do you have any questions?
No, just I wanted to commend you because it looks like the whole front of the structure, which faces the street, is essentially remaining the same, which I think is really important to that neighborhood streetscape. So thank you for taking that into consideration as you went about your building. And I did drive around, and I went down into some private community trying to see the back, and it is impossible to see the back of that house from anywhere that I could drive. So I think you're fine with that.
Thanks, Jean. Julie, any questions or comments?
Same thing. I took a drive by and I was trying to figure out where they were going to do the work, because you can't see the back of the house unless you actually walk on the property. So I wasn't about to do that. So I don't see any problem with it.
So I'm going to concur with my colleagues. I do also appreciate the fact that you're keeping the original front pretty much intact. And I know the street well, and it is impossible to see in that backyard, even just walking down the street, never mind driving by. So I have no concerns with the partial demolition as indicated in the application. We are in a public hearing, so I just want to ask if there are any members of the public that have called in that are looking to speak. Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I move to close the public hearing.
Hello,
So
can you hear me?
Oh,
Mr. Jones, is there a second?
wait a minute. Somebody's
Oh,
on the
hello.
line.
Hi, can
Yes.
you hear me?
I
Okay.
can. Could you identify yourself for the record, please?
Yes, this is Marla in Ralph La Montagna. We're neighbors to Chuck Martin, and so our deck views their backyard. And we just have one question, not related to the historic concern. We were just wondering when this was planning to be done, just so that we had awareness.
Hi, this is Peter Hoppel here from Cape Coastal Builders. We are planning on starting as soon as possible and completing the work by June 15th at the latest.
Thank you very much.
I'd also like to add that the neighbors, they have done nothing but improve the neighborhood. We've watched many of the improvements that they've done on the property, and we do support the building of the rebuilding of this addition. So thank you for hearing us.
And sir, could you just identify yourself for the record, please?
Yes, my name is Ralph Lamontagna, and again, I'm a resident at 21 Gray Neck. 26,
Okay, great.
I'm sorry.
Thank you very much. So I believe we have a motion on the floor to close the public hearing. Did we have a second?
I'll second.
So the motion's been made by Mr. Doan, seconded by Mrs. Steiner. All those in favor with a roll call vote. Julie Eldridge.
Yes. Aye.
Jean Steiner.
Yes.
Bob Doan.
Aye.
And Mary Maslowski, aye. So the public hearing is closed. At this time, the chair would entertain a motion to approve the notice of intent as detailed in the application.
I move to accept the notice of intent at 20 Gray Neck Road as presented.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to approve the notice of intent at 20 Gray Neck Road as presented. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second.
Julie Eldridge, seconded.
Sure.
So roll call vote. Julie Eldridge,
Yes.
Jean Steiner,
Yes.
Bob Doan,
Yes.
and Mary Maslowski votes yes as well. So we will let the building department know and get the paperwork over to our assistant. Thank you very much.
Madam Chair,
Thank you.
members of the commission, thank you for your time tonight.
Sure thing.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, folks. Next item we have on our agenda is the public hearing for a certificate of appropriateness. So I'd like to open the public hearing for HH 2021-03. It's a certificate of appropriateness which has been received for 711 Main Street, map 41, parcel D8 in the C-V in the Harwich Center Historic District. The application proposes the installation of a 4-foot cedar fence. The application is pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 40C, Section 6, and the Code of the Town of Harwich, Chapter 131, Historic Preservation, Article 1, Sanil Patel as owner and applicant. Hello, Mr. Patel. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you. What has you back before us this evening?
So we are basically trying to put up a 4-foot cedar fence attaching to the existing guardrail that we have. We are doing this because the neighbors requested that we do extra shielding so there's no headlights from the cars going to their property. So that's the reason why we are here to get an approval to put up the fence.
Okay. And is it essentially the same style fence that we've approved for around the dumpster?
Yes, that's correct.
Details?
Yes.
Okay. So any questions from members of the board? Jean Steiner?
I have no questions.
Julie Eldridge?
No questions. Nope.
Bob Doan?
Yeah, I think the dumpster, the cedar fence is the Gothic style with the points. And your drawings showed the just a flat top going across, which is what we desire. So you really do have to make it the way you submitted the drawing with a flat top without the Gothic detail on top of the fence.
Yeah, so these are going to be like the panels for the cedar fence. So the existing ones we have, they have the pointed tops. So the architect was saying that if we do it this way, it's going to be stronger and it's going to be easier to put it, attach it, I mean, to the guardrail that we have.
So it's not going to have the pointed tops, right?
No, no, it is not going to have pointed tops.
It'll be flat across.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. No, I'm fine with that.
So I haven't driven by the area in quite a while. Bob, are you concerned with fence that's already up?
Well, I don't think it was what was submitted as a drawing. I would have to go back and look.
I think we had approved the flat board cedar with the flat top across. I thought that's what our decision said.
And that's what I thought it was, but that's not what was installed.
No, so previously we asked for the spigot fence, and that's what was approved before. This is, sorry?
I'm not sure that I thought we had changed that at the meeting. So, I mean, we can check back into our records and double check, but we've been pretty consistent with requesting the flat cedar fence with the flat top in the historic district recently. So I know that's what I would support for this fence for the neighbors, and I thought that's what we had done in the past. I didn't think we had done a straight stockade.
In other words, a standard stockade.
Right.
You mean, not a standard one.
Correct, Bob. With the spikes, individual spikes and rounded boards.
So you're saying that you remember approving the flat ones?
I do.
Yeah, I will have to.
We can look back at our records.
I think you should talk with your developer who's building or specified it. I think you'll find it back on the plans as a straight across the top without the pickets or without the points.
Yeah, I will have to look at the previous plans that were approved. I'm trying to find them right now, but
okay. Well, like I said, we can go back.
But let's say, like, if we are discussing just adding these panels, is the flat top for this one fine?
Yes.
So
yeah.
I'm fine with the flat top for this one. You know, we would need you to correct anything that was installed incorrectly, though. So, like I said, as far as this is concerned, we can take a vote on this, and then we can look back for the decision and follow up with you on that.
Okay.
All right. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to speak during this public hearing? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I so move.
Second.
The motion's been made and seconded, made by Gene Steiner, seconded by Bob Doan, to close the public hearing. Julie Eldridge.
Yes.
Gene Steiner.
Yes.
Bob Doan.
Yes.
And Mary Maslowski votes yes. So then I would entertain a motion on the application for a certificate of appropriateness.
I'll move to accept the certificate of appropriateness for the fence on the guardrails to prevent the headlights from showing through, as described in the plan submitted, being a flat top.
Okay. Okay. Let me repeat back. Moving to accept the certificate of appropriateness for the installation of a fence on the guardrail to protect against headlights. And the fence is as described in the plan submitted, being a cedar plank flat topped fence.
Correct.
Okay, so the motion's been made. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion's been made by Mr. Doan, seconded by Jean Steiner. We'll take a roll call vote. Julie Eldridge,
Yes.
Jean Steiner,
Yes.
Bob Doan,
Yes.
and Mary Maslowski votes yes as well. So this is all set. We will look back at the prior decision and we'll follow up with you on that as well, Mr. Patel, okay?
Okay.
It looks
Thank
great
you.
so far.
Yep. Very
It
pleased.
does look nice.
Can't wait to see it open.
Yeah, no, we are trying to open it as soon as possible.
Great. Thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Okay, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
The next item on our agenda has actually been withdrawn. It will likely come back, but there are some steps the town needs to take before we would receive an application for water bottle refill stations. So the next item on our agenda is the approval of meeting minutes. We've got minutes from August 5th, August 19th, September 23rd, and February 17th. Did anybody have any changes to any of those?
No.
They were fine.
Okay. Then the chair would entertain a motion to accept and place on file the minutes from August 5th, 2020, August 19th, 2020, September 23rd, 2020, and February 17th, 2021.
I so move.
The motion's been made by Jean Steiner. Is there a second?
Yes.
Second.
Oh, okay.
Julie Eldridge has seconded. All those in favor, Julie Eldridge,
Aye.
Jean Steiner,
Yes. Aye.
Bob Doan,
Aye.
and Mary Maslowski votes aye. Any reports from commission members? Mr. Doan, do you want to give any CPC updates?
Excuse me, about to sneeze.
Oh,
Okay, yeah, we've really nothing has changed other than just been more discussions about the Methodist Church stone restoration and whether about liability with the town and clarification about the ownership of the property. I think that's still being clarified. So I don't think there's going to be any roadblocks on that. But other than that, everything else is still moving along, and the articles have been turned over to the selectmen and finance committee.
perfect. Any questions from you ladies on CPC? So I can give you a minor update on the demolition delay bylaw. We did put it into kind of the form to send for approval. So what I did was take the existing and try to match it up with all of the new language and we sent that off to town council for them to review and make sure that there were no problems with it. Jean was kind enough to God bless her, take a look at it as well. And we should be getting it back from town council. They'll put it in. They'll make sure that all the strikeouts are correct and all the insertions are correct. So just some formalities, things that we need to leave into the existing, or the things that created the historic district and historical commission and the district itself, and what our responsibilities are. So we tried to fit the new language in where it made most sense without renumbering everything that already existed. And I think it fit in really well, and we'll see what comes back from town council as far as an article is concerned.
I have a question. Are we still going to be in time to make the town warrant?
So that was the intention of sending it off to town council, yes. The question will come down to whether the selectmen put it on the warrant. So the selectmen will vote the warrant, and they can choose not to put it on the warrant and postpone it till the fall town meeting. I'm hopeful that they will put it on the warrant and do it sooner rather than later. So if you would like to lobby any selectmen, you're each welcome to.
Okay.
But
Mary, I did hear wasn't there some reporting, I guess, that there's talk about not putting many items on at town meeting because of still COVID kind of stuff?
So there were discussions at the last it's the selectmen's meeting last week. I don't know if it was discussed again this week, but there were discussions last week that they may not want to put everything on the agenda and try and keep it relatively short so that we do the budget and not have too many other items because of COVID. I don't know what that will mean for this. I'm still hopeful that it will get on sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Because I think it's another one of those that's time is of the essence. And I think the changes that are proposed are reasonable and done for the right reasons, right? It's punishment for people that aren't following the rules, and really trying to put some incentive in there to work with the commission instead of just waiting out the 12 months. So I'm hopeful, but we'll see where they land with the warrant. It's Harwich isn't the only community that's talking about doing it again, and really, if you think about last year, Harwich postponed the whole warrant until November, and went with a 12 budget all year. So, we're still in the midst of the pandemic. So, I think they're trying to use their best judgment as to how long of a meeting it should be this spring, and whether it will be indoors, outdoors, and the like. So.
Yeah, I thought the format last year outside did work very well.
I thought it did as well. So I'm hopeful that that's what they're gearing towards again. The hard part is early spring. It's not always as not always conducive. Although the state legislature did just pass the bill to allow for extensions of town elections as well. So I suspect it will, some things may get pushed a little bit, if not past June 30th, but they may get pushed a little bit. You never know, in order to accommodate outdoor meetings. Yep. I know Yarmouth is considering it over here, so we're talking about going back to a Saturday meeting from 2 years ago. They moved it back to a Tuesday in April for a Tuesday night meeting, and now 1 year later we're contemplating going back to a Saturday because of outdoor the ability to have an outdoor meeting. So eventually we'll all get back onto our regular schedules, I'm hopeful, but it is at least making progress So
Yep.
I'm still pleased with that. Anything else that, any questions, concerned items that people would like to see on a future agenda?
Oops, sorry. Go ahead, Bob.
No, go ahead, Julie.
Is it the bylaws that Jean and Bob and Brendan were working on?
Yes.
How are those coming?
So the bylaw, the demolition delay bylaw is what we were just talking about. That's the one that we're talking about. Are you talking about the guidelines?
Yes, there we go. Yeah.
Guidelines. Jean, any update on guidelines? Done a lot of work already.
Guidelines, I haven't seen anything more on the guidelines lately.
So,
We probably need to do something about that. But
Yeah.
It's been hard with not being able to sit in the same room and meet, right?
right.
It is.
Yeah.
It certainly is.
I do have one thing is that we should probably discuss the article that was approved at the town meeting for us to do the study.
Yeah.
So we should put that on the agenda for review.
I think that's a great idea, Bob. So, Melissa, if you could remember to add that for our next meeting. I will say and admit freely that when we applied for that last year, Bob, I was remiss in not talking to administration ahead of time and giving them the heads up. So the blessing is that we can correct that mistake of mine, so that we can give kind of administration a heads up that that's a project that we want to get in the queue for town staff to work on and to help us with. So I have corrected that subsequent, but was something I should have done ahead of time when we kind of submitted the application. And it was a tough year with everything, trying to squeeze in another project, but fortunately we can correct it. But yes, thank you for the reminder. We should put that on and have a conversation about it.
Yes.
See how we want to see it go forward. Anything else? Any other suggestions?
I don't think so. I don't have anything.
I'm going to put out the just the reminder that we are always looking for additional members of our commission. We do have a couple of vacancies at the moment. So if anyone watching or any one of my fellow members knows somebody that would like to volunteer and join, please let me know. Have them fill out a form, and we'll see what we can do about having them interview to be appointed.
Okay.
And anything else? Any other updates? Hearing nothing, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Bob Doan has made a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
I'll second. Oh, okay. Either way.
Jean seconded. All those in favor: Julie Eldridge,
Aye.
Jean Steiner,
Aye.
Bob Doan,
Aye.
and Mary Maslowski votes aye as well. Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure to see your happy faces. Go enjoy the rest of your St. Patrick's Day.
Bye,
Bye, everyone.
Aye.
Bye.
Bye, Melissa. Thank you.
Bye-bye.